Hello, welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. This is an episode that's following up on the I'll Be Home for Christmas episode I just did. And so this is kind of part two of that, and I just thought I'd talk about that arrangement. A lot of oblique motion, borrowing, thinking about thirds and thirds within chords to make oblique motion and borrowing happen, to make that stuff happen. And there's a little bit of scale of scales happening, and there's the flat 3 diminished, which is appropriately named as the diminished chord based off the flat 3 in the key. So in key of C major, it is E flat fully diminished 7th. So just going through the chords and the scales of chords that you might do just right at the beginning, it goes, so then it goes, so just simply put, that is C major 6, and then E flat diminished 7th, which is an octatonic type of thing, right? So, and then you go to D minor 7, so a 2-5. And then you go back to C major, and then we do a 2-5. 2-5 in D minor. So that would be E half diminished 7th to A7, which is G minor 6. And then maybe the tritones minor, or you could do dominant 7 flat 5 or dominant 7th. Right? And then you go to D minor. D minor 7 is what I play. It's what's on the chart. A lot of times I'll just do D minor 6 when it's doing a 2-5 into it, but I do D minor 7 here. I think it's pretty. So, and then it does another 2-5 to D minor, and then it does D half diminished 7th, which is F minor 6. That's a 2-5, D minor 6, or D half diminished 7th, F minor 6 to G7. I did the tritones minor there. And then C major. Now, this is C major 6. Now, on the chart that I have from like the, what is it? It's the Alfred Christmas fake book is what I was using. It says to do A minor 7 to D7 to A minor 7 to A minor 7 to D7, and then it says to do D minor 7 to G7. And what I do is I do A minor 6, so that's the 6 on the 5 for D. I treat it like 2 measures of D7. So, so I'm doing, and I go like to D. I did D octatonic, I think is what I did. That kind of thing. And then I do F major 6 to A flat 7 to G7. And I did a little whole tone, thing. So that's just an overview of the thing, and it comes back to the beginning. And that's basically the tune. And at the end, it does a little F minor 6 and stuff. So let's talk about that stuff and talk about the types of motions I was exploring. So I did something like that. What I'm doing there is I'm borrowing. I'm looking at, you could see a C major 6 like this, a drop 2 on strings 6 through 3, and then there's a C note on top of that. You could see it that way. That'd be fine. And then if I see that, I know this is a 5th. I know this is a 6th, so I can go up to a 7th and a sharp 5. Or I could just see that any drop 2 has a 3rd right in the middle. So all drop 2s have a 3rd. That's in all drop 2s. So I do a C major 6 here, and this is a 3rd. And then I go up, so the diminished, that has a 3rd in it. This has a 3rd. So if I practice my 3rds, I have things I can do inside of a drop 2. And 3rds out to 5ths to 6, I can do that. See? And then, see, that's inside of there. Something like that. You can do inside of drop 2s. Sometimes you can do it while sustaining the top note or the bottom note. So what I did was I took this, and I started with this. So I'm really into starting with some diminished notes in the chord for some dissonance. It makes it really pretty. So, and I go down the thirds. I could have done like, actually that's what I do the second time around, something like that. You could go like, you know, that would be pretty. So that's pretty. So what I do there was, I've got thirds on top of this stuff, and this is just thirds, and that's diminished notes. So, and I just kind of suspended things. I think stuff like that, where you go, instead of going like this, you go, or you know, and that type of stuff is really pretty. So I did, but what I chose to do, so that's just the one chord. That's the first chord of the song. So let's get past it, huh? So then it goes to the flat 3 diminished, which I view as D7, which is the 5 of G. Flat 3 diminished is E flat diminished, but that is almost D7, just with an E flat in there. So that allows me, I'm going to do octatonic on flat 3 diminished. That's what I do. I love the sound of it. So with borrowing and stuff. So, whoops. What is this? That's what I meant to do. All of that stuff. So that allows me to do, because I'm doing an octatonic. So that means the diminished that expresses D, the diminished a half step below. So I can go. So I did that at some point in the song. I did the run that Chris showed me. So that was beautiful. It's based off of diminished octatonic thing. And then I get to the 2 chord. And what I'm doing there is I'm imagining F major 6. You could do drop 2s. You could just do the bottom end of that. Right? What is that? Oh, like that. So it was pretty. So if you imagine the bottom end of drop 2s, might be more freeing, because I'm going to have this G note on top, because that's the melody, because it goes. So that's pretty. Go to G7, and I'm keeping this melody note there the whole time. This is G dominant 7 flat 5 and a drop 2. That could be from the dominant 7th flat 5 diminished scale. Whoops. You know, like that. I could do borrowings on that. It could be from whole tone. You know, that would be like, oh gosh, what would that be? There we go. Maybe if I do it right. Right, but I was trying to do I was wanting to hear a little chromatic, because I often am. I need to brush up on my whole tone a bit. But so what I did was, but what I did was, instead of staying in that sound world, I did the scale of scales, making some chromatic motion that eventually just works its way up to C major. But the way I did that type of motion contrapuntally is like I talked about in the Scale of Scales episode. Dominant 7 flat 5, dominant 7th, tritones minor. Isn't that pretty? So that is, you know, you could do that all over the place. You know, and then you know, all of that type of stuff. This could be done all over the place. Really beautiful sound, I think. So I did that. I went and I did down to the chromatically down to the 9th, and then here more borrowing. So it goes to 2 and a 5, like I said. So this is G minor 6 to A to D. So what I do is I do G minor 6, but instead of playing this chord, which is a drop 3 G minor 6, I reverse these notes because this is the root of a G minor 6. There's the 7th, and this is the 5th. This is the sharp 5. So I can go, and then I could have done this, but instead I'm like, oh, I have a 3rd here. I'll go like that, and then I could go down to this 3rd in G minor 6. But what I did was I went down to this 3rd of G minor 6, but with a sharp 5. You see? And then I hit this nice A7 with sharp 5, you know, which is whole tone, you know. Sorry. You know, I could do something like that. That's just whole tone and chromatic, or so then I go on from there. So again, the way that sounds like is so it's like, and then I go to D minor 7 in an octave chord. So that would be like in the middle of the elevator. You see, like drop 2, octave, drop 2, maybe this is F major 6 because it's D minor 7. But I'm just going to do octave chords, and I'm just moving freely. So there I'm thinking of 6th actually against this oblique. I'm doing an octave chords, and I'm taking this 6 like that. Whoops. So what I do there was a 2-5. This is G minor 6. And that is the tritones minor for A7. So I did with a borrowed note because B flat minor 6 is the tritones minor, and I did a sharp 5 on top of that. Right? And then I went back to the same voicing, I think. Let's see if I can get this right, because I kind of was... I try a few different things on this, and it gets a little confusing to me sometimes, but it's fun, and I think really pretty. So I go from D minor 6 to F minor 6. So I could go... And then I have to go to G7. But what I did was something like... That's exactly what I did. And so... Which is really pretty. What is that? F minor 6 to diminished notes is a 5th. 3rd out to 5th, and then I went suspension, 5th, 5th, but... And then into 3rd, and then I could have gone down 3rd, 3rd, like that. So I could 3rd out to 5th, like that. But I went up to 3rds, like that. So could have done that, but that's a little bit much for me. I went through C major, and now I'm on A minor 6. And why? Because it says A minor 7 to D7 to A minor 7 to D7 on my chart. But I do A minor 6 for D7, the 6 on the 5, going to D7. And then I go to the cadence to G. So it's something like this. You know, I did something like that. Maybe because the melody... It does something like that. So and I like that kind of, I really like that motion. So I go out from a broken chord to an octave to a drop 3, drop 2, a little borrowing above, and then I did F major 2nd, F major 6, A flat 7 to G7. and then I did a little run, or I think I did. You know, you could do, that's just a whole tone. You know, I'm just doing an octave chord within the whole tone. You can check out that episode. And I went down. You know. And what does it do? And you're just back into the thing again. And so then it goes through that. So then moving on, I guess I did some other stuff. I don't know what I did before, but it was just more of the same type of concept. And then I going through. I think here. Was the 2-5 to D minor. It's just G minor 6 and then B flat. I'm doing a lot of tritones minor in this song, huh? So I should probably diversify. You know, that would be dominant 7 flat 5 over the A7. But then now I'm on D minor. Now it stays on F major 6. It calls it F major 6 in the chart, same as D minor 7, really. And then that's a pretty movement that I did there that I like. So that is F major 6 moved chromatically down to a diminished, resolving to F major 6. So it's like, you know, you could do a lot of that. That stuff. That's just doing Barry's chromatic concept. So I did. I don't know what I did there. What would I do? But anyway, yeah. So. I did something like this. Yeah, so C major 6, and then B flat major 6, which is G minor 7, and then A7, and then so that's like D7 I get to after an A octatonic thing. D7. I went up chromatically because that's the next melody note. Maybe I did octatonic. I did octatonic. I did like So yeah, that's what I did. A little dissonant, but I like it. And then so that is borrowing on F major 6. And what I do there, that's the F major 6. The same concept as what I did. Same idea. F major 6. Thirds go down to thirds, go to fifths, go to 6, 1 scale degree up, and then I get to my diminished because it's G7 with a real flat 9 kind of sound to it. So you want to do something with a flat 9 in it is a good idea. You know, that was kind of thinking. Thinking of the tritones minor. Right? And then you know, some stuff like that could be done. I think I did all octatonic. So I did sorry. Yeah. That's just octatonic, and I did that's the kind of ending I did. So what that is I So just octatonic. So that is a chromatic scale. And then I did a little, it's like I'm, that's just octatonic stuff. Yeah, that's just octatonic. Yeah, that's just octatonic stuff. So all of that can be done, right? Whoops. It's just octatonic at the ending. So that's what I did at the ending, was a bunch of octatonic. Sorry, it confused me for a second. But so that's the idea of this tune. So again, a lot of practice with oblique motion. Oblique motion is fun. Taking any note and holding it and doing motion around it. You take a middle voice. See? Any voice could be used in oblique motion. And that's the last Christmas tune I'll be doing of this year. And I thought that would be useful, and I hope the chord charts and stuff are make it easier to follow along. And there will be more to come. So thank you so much for following, and have a good holiday. And try to get some practice in. I'll talk to you soon.